and I will be responding to Bob Valencia's claim that anti-vaccination movements are endangering the lives of the public. His secondary claims are the anti-vaccination movement are endangering the lives of children. Number two, anti-vaccination movements endanger the lives of those unable to receive vaccinations. And three, anti-vaccination movements are causing a resurgence in diseases thought to be eliminated. Although I agree that vaccinations are extremely important to the overall health of society, I do not agree that anti-vaccination movement is large enough to affect the overall general health of society. Now, to counter my opponent's first secondary claim, that anti-vaccination movements are endangering the lives of children, I have found that children are still getting their vaccinations. According to a study done by the CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, that surveyed vaccination coverage for children aged 19 months to 3 years old, it covers 16,916 children born between January 2009 and May 2011. The survey revealed that federal goals were met for U.S. children's vaccination coverage for the following diseases. 90.8% had at least one dose of the MMR, 92.8% had at least 3 doses of the polio vaccine, and 89.7% had at least 3 doses of the hepatitis B vaccine, and 90.2% had at least 1 dose of the chickenpox. With these findings, the evidence proves that a vast majority of the children have proven to be vaccinated. Therefore, this reduces the amount of children that are being endangered. My opponent's secondary claim is anti-vaccination movements endanger the lives of those unable to receive vaccinations. He states that certain individuals can't be vaccinated, like people that are allergic to vaccine components. There is a new flu vaccine for people who are allergic to eggs. In this article from CBS News states that the CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices said that a new vaccine that's made without eggs is an option for adults with severe allergies. Current flu shots are made from viruses grown in eggs and could trigger allergic reactions in some cases. So with this new flu vaccine, it helps reduce the number of people who can't get vaccines because of the allergies, and therefore the people who choose not to get vaccinated won't impact as many people. And to my opponent's third secondary claim is anti-vaccination movements are causing a resurgence in diseases thought to be eliminated. So I found an issue with the article my opponent selected to back up his claim. The article is by Nancy Shute, Vaccine Refusals Fuel California's Whooping Cough Epidemic. My opponent stated from the article that babies are too young to be vaccinated. In the article, Nancy Shute states, without giving any supporting evidence, that babies are too young to be vaccinated. She is simply an author from the article that was found on a blog, who doesn't have any medical credentials, who made a claim which is untrue. I found that the claim to be false on the California Department of Public Health, that at 2 months old, a baby can start receiving their vaccinations, including the vaccine for the whooping cough. This contradicts her false claim, and by my opponent quoting this misguided information, it helps feed the anti-vaccination movement because it can give them a false, justifiable reason to not get their babies vaccinated. So in conclusion, although I do agree that vaccinations are extremely important to the overall health of society, I don't agree that the anti-vaccination movement is large enough to affect the overall general health of society.
I was reading about vaccines. Have you watched Unsolved Mysteries? in the morning. It's really interesting. There's all like cold cases, like they crack wide open. Like I love it. Yeah.
It's out in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Christina, I think you did a very nice job stating what the proposition and the secondary claims were. There's not really a lot of structural difficulty here, except the transitions do sometimes seem a little abrupt and mechanical, which in a presentation like this is problematic. When we do the debates, though, it's probably exactly the way you need to do it, because there's not going to be a lot of rhetorical flourish. You're just going to be directly responding to the arguments. And so the clarity is mostly what we're interested in, and you did a good job on that. I like the counterclaim on the first point that talks about having reached our levels. I think one of the things that you might do is contrast the absence of any stated level by the advocate as to what amount of non-vaccinated people represent a particular threat, because the CDC has reached its measurement, its level, pretty much in all of the diseases that you cite. They have 90% vaccinations covered. There's no reason to believe that a small fraction, 10%, is the threshold that's going to produce a outbreak of some particular kind of problem that is being talked about. I think that's another way that you can kind of contrast the argument. But I thought you found very good evidence on that point. And you're making the right kind of argument. I just think that you need to kind of come to grips with the advocates' information and argument on that point a little bit more. I thought you did a good job on the second issue with kind of an interesting twist on this, reducing the degree of people who wouldn't be able to get access to the vaccine because of the eggs. Now, that's primarily the flu vaccine. I'm not sure that that covers all of the other issues that the advocate's talking about, but it does try to diminish the argument in some way. And if we were doing a debate, for instance, it would now require an answer, so that they would have to spend some time explaining why that was not important, and it seems like it's reasonably applicable to the issue. The other issues of why people might not be able to be vaccinated are not discussed, except for on the third point, which is, you know, that the kids are supposedly too young. And I liked what you did with the argument saying, look, I looked for the source that the advocate used. They have tested, you know, they said this in their article. This article appears on a blog. It's not affiliated with any medical group, but according to this, you know, I think it was the California Department of Health, wasn't it? Or,
the last one?
yeah, last one was it, or was it the CDC again?
I was referring to his article that he found by a lady.
His own article says that.
Yeah.
Well, well, then I think that that's something that you need to stress even more. It says, so the article, you know, he quotes the article as saying that they can't get 2 months of, you know, infants can't get this, but in the same article that the advocate quotes, it says right here.
No, it was a different. I'm afraid, like, I forgot what you're saying.
Okay.
I found from a different article.
Okay.
That they could. Get
yeah, and there is, and wasn't it like the California Department of Health or somebody like that?
Yeah,
okay. So yeah, so that's what you want to do is you want to say, look, we have some no-name blogger who is trying to write an article that's going to scare people about this issue to get people to read their argument, and they've said something in here that sounds pretty dramatic, but according to the California Department of Health, an official agency, children as young as 2 months are able to get these vaccines, and that's plenty early to get a vaccine. You know, you're 8 weeks old. I mean, unless you're giving it to them the moment they come out of the womb, that seems like it's pretty darn quick. So I think that you've got a good way of contrasting that. You just need to make that comparison a little bit more. The technical stuff is all in the presentation. You just need to sell the argument a little bit more, and I think that you've got the ability to do that. You just need to explain it a little bit more clearly. But all the technical stuff is there. Oh, good. I'm glad I wasn't in